Good morning, everyone. The Education Management Seminar for current students. Are challenging COVID year. This one, in Ireland, same as Nicola, and they will be our panelists today offering what it is like to be a student.
Okay, I think we've got a bad connection there with Christina. So maybe Joan and I will just have a discussion between ourselves. So Joan, what are you studying in Ireland?
I'm studying gender, globalization, and rights. So.
Oh wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, and what are you studying?
I'm studying a master's degree in event management. You know, I came from a professional background, and obviously I lost my job during COVID, so it was a unique opportunity to kind of further my studies. So yeah, that's me. I've been here since December, and it's been hard during COVID. You know, to learn online is very different to what I'm used to. So yeah. it took a lot of getting used to, but eventually you kind of get into the flow of things, and then you know, you're already halfway through your degree. So yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah, I can understand that because I've been in the same space as well. I came here around September, so around I think it was the first week of September. And 14 days of quarantine as well.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I know. So, I had the same.
Exactly. So after that, I went straight through the course, and the subjects that I'm focusing on are based on gender, globalization, and rights. But usually we focus on feminism, as well as human rights and other aspects of human rights and globalization as well. So it's almost a mixture of everything, and it's very interesting. It's something that I didn't know of until I came to Ireland. Yeah.
And how have you found the curricula? Is it very different from South Africa and school? You know, in terms of levels, is it different?
It's not too different. Because in SA, when I did my undergrad, of course, I did in social work. So I have a social work background. So when I came in already, I had some clue on what I was expected to do. And the workload is not too much in comparison with the undergrad work. So it was more or less the same, and as well as the opportunities that the university gives, like with academic writing and all that, I think it helped to orientate me into the system itself.
Okay, that's interesting, because I didn't come from an academic writing background at all. I studied hotel management, which is very much experiential learning. So I almost felt like I was being put into the deep end, trying to learn how to academically write. It's very, very different. So yeah, that little gap, it was sort of not in my favor, but I've been really impressed with the lecturers at TU Dublin. They've been very hands-on with making sure that we know what we're doing, how to do it. They support you, and yeah, it's been nice to meet different people, you know, different cultures, and how they approach learning in a sense.
Yeah, and how did you find COVID? Like in NUIG, the situation was very supportive. Like the university was very supportive, and they actually made us feel comfortable, because even learning online is difficult itself, because sometimes you don't know what to do, you know, those cues online. So they actually prepared us beforehand and made sure that we also got support, because remember, when you are learning online, you have limited mobility. You can't go out, you can't communicate with other people, most especially for us international students. So they made sure that they supported us through like counseling, like, with the difficulties of staying indoors. Sometimes some people cannot cope,
Yes.
So they made sure that they gave us information of the current restrictions, what we are expected to do, and how to be safe and all that. I think it also played a role in helping us adjust to the education system as well.
100%. And I know with sort of TU as well, I mean, they launched a fitness app. So they have Pilates classes on Fridays, and they did international cooking competitions so that people could start meeting each other. And yeah, it's just
Were these
they're
competitions
doing their
online?
best.
Mhm.
Yeah, just competitions. You literally just take pictures of your cooking and the process behind it. So I did a bunny chow because that's signature to South Africa.
Exactly.
And yeah, they've really tried hard to kind of bring back the student experience, because I think that's what we're missing online, is that face-to-face contact with each other and being able to meet our peers and work in groups and be involved. So they really have tried from a perspective to kind of integrate different people.
Yeah.
But I do miss the face-to-face. I really do.
Yeah.
But I think the societies also assisted, like we joined different societies, although it was online, but the activities were actually cool and we were able to meet other people, make new friends, as much as it's difficult to make friends when you are indoors. But actually we were able to make friends online through joining societies and taking part in different activities. So I think that also helped for us international students coming in. Not sure if we're going to make any friends or going to meet other people in Ireland, or making having other experiences as well. So I think it was well done, actually.
Joanne, I'm just going to ask you to expand on that a little bit. I know you said you landed in Ireland right in the middle of COVID in September last year. Could you just walk us through a little bit what the process was like, orientation in lockdown, and just how the first few weeks were for you?
Okay, I when I landed, firstly, I was welcomed by the student. Although before I even came to Ireland, we were given some information on what to expect when we first get here. So we were told that we will have people waiting for us and they will show us around, like where to go. We got buses, and the people were volunteers. I think they were students. They assisted us to go to different buses, because when we first came, we were a large group. So there were some people going to Limerick, Cork, and Galway. So we had different buses taking us from the Dublin airport, to different places. So when I first came here, I'm staying at Dunaras. So it's a student accommodation. I came through the university first. I went to the university first, and actually they got me a taxi to come here. So for me, it was the best thing, because coming to another country, you don't even know where to go. So I appreciated that a lot, because I didn't have to struggle with getting taxis and all that. So I don't know if it was because of COVID or that's how it is, but I appreciated that.
Yeah.
So staying here, I had to also, actually the immigration called to check if I'm staying at the right place and all that. So it actually made me feel even safer, knowing that, okay, people actually, someone knows that I'm here and they're, taking care of that. And then afterwards, with the university at NUIG, they had like a virtual orientation day. It was like a whole day. It was very interesting. There were different presenters and speakers telling us what to expect. And even though it was challenging because of COVID, but they were not sure if we were going to go to classes or not the next semester, but they gave everything, every information that was needed, how to access the university library, how to access Blackboard, what to do there, and what, like the student societies and everything. It was everything. And from that day, I got to understand what I can do as a student, which societies I can join, how to interact with the university. So it was very good. It was well done. And also I kept in contact with my lectures. The department was so open. It's the Women's Studies department. So it was so open. I could communicate one-on-one with the lectures. I could ask anything, because the situation is sometimes you don't know the terms. You know, in South Africa, we use different terms, and here they use different terms of explaining things. Like, it was the first time hearing about disparities. I was like, what's that? So in South Africa, we don't use that word. So
Yeah.
it's good to be in contact with other students as well as the lecturers, communicating with them, telling them your challenges. I think it's good. Yeah.
Okay. Nicola, I know you worked first before you went back to school. Could you explain a little bit how the process was for you being in the workforce and then transitioning back into school, especially because you're already in Ireland?
So it was a completely nerve-wracking experience, to be honest. Going into the level that I was going into, you know, I had a diploma in hospitality management, and I had to apply based on previous experience. But they were very, very good with that. Obviously, they vetted, you know, my sort of levels and skills. And it was actually really quick. I applied, they got back to me really quickly, and then I was in the course learning about academic writing and trying to get up to grips with this theoretical side of my profession, which was a completely new perspective for me. You know, when I was doing events back in South Africa, you really think about people and place and different terminology, and it gives you a better insight. And I must be honest that, you know, before I came here, I had fallen a little bit out of love with the industry. And since I've been in this program, I'm completely fallen back in love with events and what they mean and what they represent. So it's been invaluable experience and knowledge for me. Yeah.
That's so encouraging to hear from the both of you. I'd want you to just touch a little bit on the differences you found between the South African system and the Irish system, and how prepared you felt to adapt to the new system. I think, Joan, you can go first.
I think I didn't feel that it was too different on the academic side, what was expected. But I felt that the approach in the education itself, it was more encouraging us to critically think about issues, and in depth. It went in depth into issues more than, I don't know, or maybe it's because of the course I'm doing masters now. Maybe in the undergrad was different, but I found that it was encouraging more creative exploration of what you are studying. You know, because although maybe because of COVID, because it's online, but I remember when I was doing my presentation, I was enjoying because I could put in pictures. I like cartoons, so I could put in cartoons and do all those and exploring on different ways, different media of communicating what I think about the topics. You know, so that's one thing that I found that it was interesting. And I think also the support from lecturers in our department is so good. I mean, they go all out to ensure that what you are looking for, like we have different how can I put it, ways of understanding things, as well as different needs in the education. Like I'm interested in human trafficking and also in gender-based violence. So they made sure that they also take part of what I'm interested in and put it actually in the learning material. So that's what I liked. It was individualized, as well as encompassing all the other issues that the other students were also interested in. So that's what I like the most about the programs and how they set up their modules.
Okay. Yeah. And Nicola, you said you fell back in love with the hospitality industry just from your coursework and how long you've been in school. Could you tell us a bit more about that transition?
So yeah, I mean, the last time I studied or was in a sort of educational environment was about 7 years ago. So, you know, coming back into it was an adjustment. But like I said, they just give you a unique perspective. And I think what I liked about the online was that you had to do a lot of work offline, and then the online work was basically a discussion where you got to hear other people's ideas, their perspectives, thoughts, and how, you know, all of that integrates with one another was really, really interesting. And, you know, I just find that valuable because you're allowed to do your own work in your own time, and then, you know, develop ideas based on the course material that they've provided to you, and then have a discussion with your peers, you know, and challenge each other and have debates and all those sorts of things. So yeah, really, really impressed with that.
Okay, that's good. And now for the both of you, how do you think the Irish government has dealt with the COVID situation, especially now that you've both been students, I think predominantly for your programs in COVID? How do you think the government has dealt with that?
Okay, I have the one side of me is like, you should have let us at least explore, but I think but I think they handled it well, considering that it is an outbreak. And I think we also have to realize that we have to play a part ourselves to social distance and do all that required. So it's not easy to judge as to was it good or was it bad, because this is a new situation, and I think every country in the world handled it the best way they could. So I think also the Irish government handled it the best way they could. And what I really liked, also the university was keeping us updated on what's happening and the restrictions and all that. So it's like always constantly reminding us that this is the reality. You have to be mindful of this, you know. So I think they handled it the best way they could.
Yeah, I completely agree with Joan. You know, as she said, every country handles it differently, and you know, they're just doing the best that they can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know this may not touch on the experience of studying internationally in normal times, but do you have any advice that could make it easier for a new student to be away from home?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to keep in contact with your family. For me, personally, it was to keep in contact with my family and also getting support from them. And another thing is to be focused, because when you are away from home, sometimes you think you are like free and independent, but you have to remember why you came in the first place, but not limit yourself from having fun and exploring at the same time. So you need to have some kind of balance of the two. And I think the other thing that helped was I researched everything. Before I came here, I researched everything, like from the studies, what modules I will take, how is the university, checking everything, and also what are the fun places I can go to. So it's more of balancing the two, you know, fun and education, and also challenging myself to learn more, because I'm not a social media person, or I don't like this kind of Zoom and all that. But somehow now I see that it's reality and I'm actually loving it. So I don't know if I can go to any classes, physical classes anymore. I like this. I'm okay with it.
Okay. And for you, Nicola?
Oh, well, for me, I think the thing that I miss most, other than my family at home, is the weather, the sunshine. So how I kind of, my top tip is get out into the sun whenever you see it. Not very often, but you can have every season in one day. But yeah, I completely agree with Joan. You know, do your research before you come, and have that balance, because it's even worse in COVID, because you're kind of in your house all the time and you just focus on the work. But you do need to have that balance. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take us into the question and answer session now, or part of the session. There's a few questions I can see in the discussion box. I think, Joanne, I'll let you handle this one because you did your application while you're in South Africa, yes?
Yep.
Okay, so there's someone who asks, what was the application process and the requirements, and how long did it take for you to hear back? Also, did you use an agent?
Okay, I went through using a scholarship. So it was the Irish Aid Scholarship together with the Irish and South African Embassy. So they were the ones who were sponsoring my education. So the response was very quick. I was the one who was applying though. So I was applying. I applied to 2 universities. The one is the NUIG and the other one. So in both universities, the response was very quick, and it was easy to register because all the requirements were there already. There was nothing that I needed or extra that I had to ask from the university. All the information was there. So it was very quick, and the response was good, well in time. I think it was around 2 weeks, the response was.
Okay. And for the visa, how long did you need a visa when you left, or?
No, I didn't.
Because I know that.
Yeah,
sorry, go on.
I didn't need a visa. It was just have your passport, and they will tell you what else you need, like medical checks, and all that. Yeah, the insurance and all the other things. But they do give you information beforehand.
Okay. I think you are one of the lucky few, because a visa requirement was put in because of COVID more recently. So I think you're one of the last people to be able to go. For Nicola, I have a question for you. Someone asks, please explain how applications based on previous experience works. What did you need to go through with the school?
So basically, you have to set up a portfolio of work, and then they ask you. Sure, it must have been about 12 essay-style questions where you had to deliver your competency in that particular field. So they check for your analysis, how you can sort of be competent in that field. So I had to do my CV. I had to give at least 3 professional experiences, 2 educational experiences, and based on that, they checked it. I think it was at the end of it was probably about 20 pages long, and then they kind of vetted whether I could fit into that master's level. So I really wasn't expecting to get in, but I do come from a international event management experience. So I think all of that worked in my favor. So yeah, I was very excited and very happy. And yeah, if anybody wants more information on that, I'm more than happy to chat with them.
Okay. And did you need a minimum number of years of experience? Because you had 7, which is a bit on the higher side. Was there a minimum they required you to have for that conversion to happen?
So I think they didn't necessarily have a minimum, but I think anything over 5 years of experience within the industry, you do develop, a set level of skills, especially in senior positions. So yeah, I would say 5 years up, give it a shot. But anything less, I wouldn't say. You've developed personally and you've grown enough to understand that competency level. But I think it depends from industry to industry, if I'm honest. I don't think somebody who's studying what Joan is studying can maybe adapt, but because events is so experiential learning based, I think it's a little bit different.
Okay. And for you, Joan, how did you settle in the place, what I'm going to assume is student accommodation, because this is sleeping quarter, and how did you adjust to the new atmosphere?
It was a bit difficult at first because I was so used to staying with my family, a lot of people, and when I came here, I had to stay on my own. So it was a bit of some challenges there. But I adjusted to that, and I think it was good because it was that moment where you just keep silent and you start to question, like, okay, I'm here. What am I here to do? You just come down a little bit. I think it gave me that space. And actually, I'm enjoying it. I was staying alone for some time. I had a roommate and she had to go back home. So I'm alone again. And I don't know, as time goes on, maybe I'll have other roommates or something. I don't know. But somehow I managed to stay here, and it's a good place. It's good for studying because there's not too much noise. It's very quiet and safe. There's some security outside, and so I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for you, Nicola, I know you have family in Ireland. Are you living with them or are you living in student accommodation?
So for the moment, while we're still studying online, I'm living with my dad. He lives in the countryside, so it's nice to get out and go walking. But the university says we may be able to go back in September, so we just I'm hoping and praying that we can, because it would be so nice to be back on campus.
Yeah.
Okay. And for you, Joanne, someone in the comments is interested in knowing what career can you start by doing the Global Women's Studies Master from NUI Galway?
Can you please repeat that?
What career can you start by doing the Global Women's Studies Masters from NUI Galway?
Okay, it's very broad, because even as a social worker, I can implement what I've studied here in my career. And you can also go into like advocacy work. You can go into, because now we are doing something like applied gender analysis. So you can go into evaluation of projects or programs, because as with gender, it's not just women, but everyone involved. It also involves other marginalized groups as well. So you can work in any field. You can work, even when you are a lawyer, you can also do gender studies in law. So there's a lot of fields that you can really go into. It's not limiting, but as well, it's I think it's in line with the different SDGs, most especially SDG 5, gender equality, but also the other SDGs, because now at the moment I think also in the social work field, we are having challenges in South Africa of gender-based violence. So this year, it's even more relevant for me, experiencing that experience. Actually, it opens up my mind, and it's very interesting.
Okay. I think we are coming to the end of our time available. So any last words, Nicola?
No, just thank you so much for having me. And, I just wish everybody in this seminar the best of luck with their future endeavors. I hope we can all meet you in Ireland one day.
Yes. And you, Joanne?
Oh, thank you so much for this opportunity and to allow me to share my experience as well. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm so happy we had you guys on our panel. Thank you for taking the time. For everyone who joined us on the seminar, I hope you found the information given valuable, and apologies for the slight technical difficulties at the beginning. I think we're going to end this now. Have a lovely rest of your days.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
That sounds really good.
I think
Well
we're
done.
off air now.